Did you know that eating just 2 eggs per week can slash your risk of Alzheimer's dementia by a staggering 47% thanks to choline-rich egg yolks that fuel brain health in adults over 80? Even more astonishing studies show that consuming eggs 1 to 6 times per week lowers cardiovascular-related mortality by 29% in Americans aged 70 and above. Yet there's a hidden everyday breakfast combo that could neutralize half those life-saving nutrients, silently draining your energy-fueling anemia, weakening bones, and even ramping up heart disease risk. In this video, we're uncovering the 7 breakfast combinations you must avoid, so your humble egg becomes a golden source of vital nutrition rather than a stealthy health saboteur. Before we jump into the details, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Senior Life. Your best health starts right here with a single click. And right now, let's take a look at the very first type of food or drink that people over 60 should never combine with eggs, milk, and dairy products. Fresh milk, yogurt, cheese. One simple breakfast habit can block 50 to 60% of the iron you'd normally absorb from eggs, even when the calcium comes from just a glass of milk or a slice of cheese. As a senior physician, I've seen this more times than I can count: a healthy plate of scrambled eggs, followed by 8 ounces of milk, about 300 mg calcium, or a serving of yogurt or cheese. Sounds wholesome, right? Here's the problem. Calcium and iron compete for absorption in the small intestine. Research shows that 165 and 600 mg of calcium, whether from dairy or supplements, can acutely cut iron absorption by half. The NIH confirms this calcium can block iron absorption at the meal level, meaning you get less iron in your bloodstream from that breakfast. For adults over 60, this matters even more. Anemia affects 10 to 14% of older Americans overall and skyrockets with age, hitting 40% of men and 22% of women by 85 plus. Anemia in seniors isn't just feeling tired. It's tied to higher hospitalization rates and even higher mortality, especially from heart-related causes. Take Mr. Johnson, 72, from Ohio. Every morning for years, he'd eat 2 boiled eggs with a tall glass of milk. When he came to see me, he complained of fatigue, brain fog, and shortness of breath just from climbing the stairs. His labs showed borderline iron deficiency. The fix: we didn't remove eggs or dairy, we changed the timing. Now he has eggs with vegetables and whole grain toast for breakfast and saves his yogurt or milk for a mid-morning snack. Within weeks, he felt more energetic. That timing tweak works because even a single cup of milk, 300 mg calcium, can block a significant portion of iron absorption in that meal. To maximize iron absorption, it's important to pair iron-rich foods with vitamin C-rich options. Think of adding foods like oranges, strawberries, or bell peppers to your meals. Vitamin C helps convert iron into a form that's easier for your body to absorb. But here's a crucial tip. Avoid drinking milk tea or coffee right during or immediately after an iron-rich meal. These drinks contain compounds that can interfere with how well your body absorbs iron. If you're taking calcium supplements, make sure to space them at least 2 to 3 hours away from your iron-rich meals. This helps ensure that calcium doesn't compete with iron for absorption. For individuals in their 50s and 60s who are about to enter the aging phase, it's a good idea to start practicing these habits early. Your body's nutritional needs begin to change as you get older, and adopting habits that support better iron absorption can make a big difference in your overall health. These small changes, like timing your meals and supplements, can become second nature with a little practice. Plus, they're easy to incorporate into your daily routine, giving your body the best chance to absorb the nutrients it needs without interference from other foods or drinks. By making these adjustments, you're not just looking out for your iron levels today, but you're also setting up a healthier future as you age. Your body will thank you for the thoughtful attention you give it now, especially as you enter later stages of life. The second type of drink that we should avoid combining with eggs is caffeinated beverages: coffee, black tea, green tea. Mini hook. In controlled human meals, 1 cup of black tea cut non-heme iron absorption by about 64%, and coffee by 39% from a single sitting, while a high-tannin green tea has been shown to slash absorption even further in some models. Now, speaking as a senior internist who sees a lot of older adults, here's why that matters. Anemia silently climbs with age by 85 plus. Roughly 40% of U.S. men and 22% of women have anemia, and even mild deficits can sap energy, cognition, and resilience. Let's unpack the mechanism without the jargon. Tea, black or green, and coffee carry polyphenols, tannins, chlorogenic acids that form tight complexes with non-heme iron in food. The bound iron simply doesn't cross the gut wall well. That's been shown repeatedly in human tracer studies and explains the big drops you just saw. And it's not only iron. When you pair black tea with eggs, there's a protein cost too. A Journal of Nutrition trial found that drinking black tea with a boiled egg meal reduced the true indispensable amino acid digestibility of egg protein by 17%. Meaning you lose some of the protein you thought you were getting from breakfast. Quick reality check on caffeine itself. Typical 8 Oz pours deliver 95 to 165 mg for brewed coffee, 25-48 mg for black tea, and 25 to 29 mg for green tea. Most healthy adults can tolerate up to 400 mg caffeine per day, but sensitivity rises with age and medications. In the short term, caffeine also nudges more calcium into your urine for a few hours after you drink it, an effect that's dose-dependent. In research settings, caffeine increased urinary calcium for at least 2 to 3 hours. High experimental doses, 6 mg/kcal, pushed calcium losses sharply higher. Over the long run, though, the best evidence suggests this isn't harmful if your daily calcium intake is adequate. What to do instead? Practical no-nonsense fixes. Time it right. If you love tea or coffee, have it at least 1 hour after an iron-containing meal or iron supplement. In a controlled trial, that simple 1-hour gap cut tea's iron-blocking effect roughly in half. Add a helper. Include a vitamin C source, citrus, strawberries, bell pepper tomatoes with your eggs, or other iron-containing foods. Vitamin C counteracts polyphenol inhibition and boosts non-heme iron uptake. Choose your sip. If breakfast features eggs, swap the tea contra coffee for water, a small glass of orange juice, or an herbal infusion without Camellia sinensis true tea at that meal. Save your favorite brew for mid-morning. Decaf won't solve the iron issue. Polyphenols, not caffeine, drive most of the iron blockade. Mind the dose. Keep total caffeine under what your body tolerates. Many older adults feel better at 200 to 300 mg day, even though 400 mg is the general upper limit. Track how you sleep, your heartburn, and your jitters. Then adjust. If iron is already low, avoid drinking tea or coffee within 2 hours of taking an iron pill and pair the pill with vitamin C, unless your clinician advises otherwise. The enhancer effect of vitamin C is strongest at typical food level doses. The third type of food that we should avoid combining with eggs is whole grains and oats when consumed in large amounts with eggs. Mini hook. A jumbo bowl of bran cereal or oatmeal eaten with your eggs can quietly slash the meal's uptake of key nutrients. Studies show high-fiber meals can cut fat-soluble vitamin and carotenoid absorption by 10–30% in a single sitting, and the phytates in whole grains can bind iron, zinc, calcium, and magnesium, making them harder to absorb. Here's what's going on, plain and simple. Whole grain cereals and hearty oatmeal deliver two blockers when you heap them onto the same plate as eggs, insoluble fiber, and phytates. Insoluble fiber speeds transit and can hinder the formation of the tiny fat droplets, micelles you need to absorb. Vitamins A, D, and E, while phytates in grains chelate minerals like iron and zinc, so they pass through unabsorbed. The American Dietetic Association has long cautioned that very high fiber intakes can reduce absorption of vitamins, minerals, proteins, and energy at a meal, and classic human studies show phytate in grains lowers iron and zinc bioavailability. Why is this extra important after 60 aging guts handle fat differently? Bile acid responses and lipoprotein traffic get less efficient, which can blunt the delivery of fat-soluble vitamins, even when digestion looks normal. Reviews note that older adults may clear vitamin A-rich chylomicrons more slowly, and emerging work finds age shifts in post-meal bile acid handling that can alter nutrient uptake. Stack that with a huge fiber load at breakfast, and you've built a tougher obstacle course for vitamins A, D, E from your eggs. Let's put numbers on typical breakfasts. A cooked cup of oatmeal provides about 4 g of fiber instant. Many bowls are bigger, while brand cereals can deliver 7 to 18 granolas per serving, over 60% of daily fiber for some brands. It's terrific fiber, just not ideal on the same tray as fat-soluble rich foods if you want maximum absorption. There's another twist with oat's viscous V-glucan in oat bran binds bile acids, part of how oats lower LDL, which can delay or reduce fat absorption from that meal. Great for cholesterol. Not so great if you're also trying to pull vitamins A, D, E from egg yolks at that very moment. Human trials with oat bran show increased bile acid excretion and signs of delayed lipid absorption post-meal. How to keep the benefits without losing the nutrients, practical fixes that work. Time it, don't nix it. Enjoy eggs' source of ADE at breakfast, then have your big whole grain oat bowl as a mid-morning or lunch meal. Even spacing by one mealtime helps your gut do both jobs well, and if you add fruit to the cereal later, you'll boost mineral absorption in that meal. This timing also avoids phytate traffic jams for iron from the eggs. Right-size the bowl. If you love eggs and cereal together, shrink the cereal portion and add a little healthy fat olive oil drizzle on veggies or a few avocado slices to support micelle formation for vitamins A, D, E while keeping total calories in check. The ADA's take is clear problems show up with very high fiber loads in a single meal. Add a helper. Include vitamin C-rich produce citrus berries, bell pepper tomatoes with eggs to enhance non-heme iron uptake from the plate. Vitamin C counters inhibitors from grains. NIH notes, phytate is a major iron blocker in cereals/legumes. Mind your age-related variables. If you've had your gallbladder removed, have biliary issues, or take meds that affect fat digestion, you're more likely to feel the absorption tax of an ultra-high fiber plus fat-soluble vitamin combo. Consider spacing meals even more consistently. Early signals: you might be missing key fat-soluble nutrients or minerals, dry eyes, or poorer night vision, vitamin A, more colds, or slow wound healing, AD muscle weakness, or bone aches, debrittle nails, Chachurhan's skin changes, E, or persistent fatigue and lightheadedness. Iron. If these sound familiar, ask your clinician about a CBC ferritin and vitamins A, D, E, especially if you favor big, fiber-heavy breakfasts. The fourth type of food we should avoid combining with eggs is raw, high-fiber vegetables, such as raw cabbage lettuce and kale. I'm a senior internist, and I see this all the time. A big raw salad cabbage kale lettuce plus eggs sounds perfect. Yet patients still show low vitamin D, E, or eye protective carotenoids. Here's why in plain English. The super crunchy insoluble fiber in raw greens can physically trap fat-soluble nutrients during digestion, while some fibers hinder the little micelles that ferry vitamins A, D, E, K across your gut wall. In controlled human trials, adding fiber, including wheat, bran, and cellulose cut carotenoid absorption by 40–74% in a single meal. Even beta-carotene alone fell 33–43% with certain fibers. That's not theory that's measured in blood over 24 hours. Now, an important twist: eggs help when used smartly. Egg yolk lipids and phospholipids act like built-in carriers. In an American Journal of Clinical Nutrition crossover trial, the same raw salad absorbed far more carotenoids when eaten with 3 whole eggs. Total carotenoid uptake increased 3–8x, and lutein-socked zeaxanthin jumped 4–5x. Likewise, Purdue researchers showed salads with full-fat dressing 28 colors produced dramatic gains versus fat-free roughly 12. 5x for A-carotene, 40x for V-carotene, and 3x for lycopene, because these pigments need fat to cross the gut wall. Add a healthy fat, and you flip the script from blocked to absorbed. Doc, what about minerals? For certain leafy greens, notably spinach often swapped into breakfast salads, oxalates bind calcium tightly. In classic isotope work, calcium absorption from spinach was 5% versus 28% from milk. Nearly all of spinach's calcium was locked up. That doesn't mean spinach is bad. It means don't count on raw spinach for calcium, and be mindful of giant raw portions when you need minerals from the rest of the plate. A quick clinic story. Mrs. Whitman, 71, North Carolina, ate 2 hard-boiled eggs with a mountain of raw kale cabbage daily. She felt fine, but labs showed low vitamin D and E. We kept her eggs shrunk. The raw greens added a drizzle of olive oil or 1–2 avocado, and sometimes lightly sautéed the veg. 3 months later, her vitamin E rose, and she reported less dry skin and steadier energy. These changes line up with human trials, where adding avocado or avocado oil to salads boosts carotenoid absorption 5–15x, depending on the pigment. What this means for older adults and pre-seniors. Many healthy seniors still digest fat well, but even small barriers, very high raw fiber, at one-sitting meds that affect digestion, a removed gallbladder can tip the balance against fat-soluble vitamins right at the meal. The evidence across RCTs and reviews is consistent. You need some fat as little as 3–5 g, with vegetables to absorb carotenoids, and excess fiber at that same moment can blunt the effect. Use the plate to your advantage. Simple fixes that actually work, no giving up salads. Change the order or the portion. Keep the eggs. Plus a modest side of greens at breakfast. Move the big raw salad to lunch or keep it at breakfast, but add fat olive oil avocado so the meal isn't fat-starved. Expect several-fold better carotenoid uptake when fat is present. Lightly cook tough greens. Quick sauté, scent steam softens fiber and can raise bioavailability of certain antioxidants compared with raw. Then pair with eggs, which already supply helpful lipids. Use the egg advantage. If you do eat a raw salad at breakfast, topping it with whole eggs, not just whites, meaningfully amplifies carotenoid absorption from the veggies. Mind special cases. If you're leaning on greens for calcium, know that spinach's oxalate blocks most of it. Get calcium elsewhere at that meal. Kale and cabbage are lower oxalate than spinach. The 5th type of food that is particularly dangerous for the elderly and should be avoided is processed meats such as sausages, bacon, and ham. Mini hook. 2 slices of bacon with your eggs feels harmless. Yet just 50 g a day of processed meat, think a few bacon strips or 1 hot dog, is linked to about an 18% higher colorectal cancer risk and processed meat is officially a Group 1 carcinogen for the gut per the WHO's Cancer Agency. As a longtime internist, here's what I explain to patients. Bacon, sausage, and ham are packed with sodium and often nitrite, nitrate. During processing and high-heat cooking, nitrite reacts with amino compounds to form N-nitroso compounds. No case, several are proven carcinogens in animals, and cured meats remain a key dietary source. Fried bacon is a standout example. Inside the stomach, nitrite can also generate NOCs endogenously. Vitamin C helps block this. That biochemical cocktail is a big reason large cohorts consistently tie processed meats to colorectal and likely stomach cancer. In U.S. cohorts, people in the highest processed meat group saw roughly 15 to 20% higher colorectal cancer risk than the lowest. Meta-analyses repeatedly show risk climbing with dose 18% per 50 by each gorg day, and hypertension tracks with processed meats too. Pooled cohort data estimate 12 to 2% higher high blood pressure risk with greater intake. Mechanistically, sodium is a major driver. 3 slices of cooked bacon run about 580 to 600 mg sodium. A 3 O's ham serving lands near 150 mg, and a typical cooked sausage portion can top 800 mg all before you've salted your eggs. The AHA and dietary guidelines urge keeping daily sodium under 2,300 mg lower if you're salt sensitive, because cutting sodium lowers blood pressure and stroke risk. A quick story from Clinic. Mr. Reynolds, 69, loved 2 fried eggs with bacon every morning. Despite meds, his systolic BP lived in the 140s, and a screening colonoscopy found small adenomas. We didn't ban breakfast, we re-engineered it. Bacon went from daily to once a week. On other days, he swapped in pan-seared turkey breast or beans and tomatoes with eggs added berries. Vitamin C helps inhibit nitrosation and cooked meats at lower temps, avoiding charring cuts down other heat-made carcinogens. 6 months later, his home BPs averaged 130/80, and he felt less bloated and more energetic. Smart practical fixes. You can start tomorrow without giving up flavor. Space processed meats to rare treats. Aim 1-2 times a week. Choose fresh proteins with eggs, chicken, turkey, salmon, beans. If you do bacon or ham bake or microwave on a rack on paper towel to reduce fat drippings and avoid pan frying to a char. Pile on vitamin C-rich produce, citrus berries, peppers at the same meal. And watch labels uncured. No nitrite added often just means celery powder nitrates, not no nitrite at all. Keep daily sodium in check across the rest of the day. Red flags that deserve a chat with your clinician home. Blood pressures repeatedly. 130, 80 mitipatstermish, persistent bloating or reflux after salty processed breakfasts. New changes in bowel habits, especially blood in stool, or unexplained fatigue, iron deficiency labs. Screening and small breakfast swaps go a long way at 60+. The 6th type of food that I often advise the elderly to avoid combining with eggs is foods high in sugar, such as cakes, jams, and syrups. That just a little muffin jam or syrup with your eggs can turbocharge glycation, the sugar-on-protein reaction that ages tissues, and it shows up in real markers of heart and brain health. I'm a senior internist, and here's the plain English version. When a high-sugar food hits your bloodstream alongside protein like eggs, sugars latch onto proteins and form advanced glycation end products, AGEs. That's the Maillard chemistry we use to brown foods happening inside you. AGEs stiffen. Blood vessels scramble protein function and flip on a pro-inflammatory switch through the RAGE receptor, a pathway tied to vascular damage as we age. Let's talk numbers you can use at the breakfast table. A single tablespoon of jam lands 14 grams carbs, sugar. Maple syrup hits 12 gram sugar per tablespoon, easy to pour, too, without thinking. A 12 Oz Cola handy reference point for sugar load has 39 grams added sugar. The American Heart Association recommends keeping added sugars. 6% of calories, day about 6 t-sp 25 grind for most women, and 9 tsp 36 grind for most men, because extra sugar tracks with higher cardiovascular risk. The CDC likewise flags added sugars as contributors to heart disease and type 2 diabetes. What about aging and memory? Newer human data are sobering. In JAMA Network Open 2024, higher added sugar intake was linked to an older epigenetic biological age in midlife, women essentially faster cellular aging while better overall. Diet quality tracked with younger biological age. Separately, an older adult cohort found that higher dietary ages predicted faster cognitive decline over time, independent of classic heart risk factors. Translation: a steady stream of sugar-rich foods and high-age meals may nudge the brain the wrong way. Now layer in cooking style. Dry heat, high-temp methods. Baking, frying, toasting can boost dietary ages in foods by 10 to 100x, compared with uncooked, and while meats are the biggest sources, many bakery items get a glycation double hit, sugar, plus dry heat. Practical upside: moist heat, poach. Steam, stew. Lower temps. Shorter times. And acidic marinades. Lemon vinegar markedly dial ages down. How this shows up in clinic, Mrs. Carter, 70. Illinois scrambled eggs, buttered toast with strawberry jam, and a cinnamon roll for energy. Afternoon crashes, creeping A1C brain foggy days. We didn't ban breakfast. We re-engineered it eggs with sautéed veggies, berries instead of pastry. If she wanted jam, 1 teaspoon of low-sugar jam, syrup saved for weekends measured. 2 months later, her energy was steadier. 6 months in A1C down, and memory complaints eased. That tracks with the biology above less sugar load, fewer glycation sparks, less vascular and inflammatory strain. Doable fixes for seniors and pre-seniors. Keep added sugars in breakfast under AHA limits. Think 1 TSP jam, not 2-3, and skip routine pastries. If you love sweetness, use fresh fruit fiber, plus polyphenols or a light fruit puree. Sprinkle cinnamon or vanilla for flavor without the spike. Plate order matters: eat eggs and veg first, then a small sweet if you're having 1 protein fat, slow the glucose surge and glycation. Cook lower and wetter when you can soft scramble, poach eggs. Avoid over-browning toast to trim dietary ages at the same meal. Aim for no sugar-sweetened drinks with breakfast. Save them never or rarely, they're consistently tied to higher CVD and T2D risk. The final type of food I advise you to be cautious when combining with eggs is carbonated soft drinks and energy drinks. In my clinic, I see this pattern often colas, and many energy drinks bring phosphoric acid, pulled sugar, pulse caffeine. In the landmark Framingham osteoporosis study, older women who drank cola daily had hip bone mineral density 3.7% lower at the femoral neck and 5.4% lower at Ward's area than women who drank it less than once a month. This was true for regular diet and decaf cola, pointing to cola-specific factors like phosphoric acid and displacement of milk. Controlled trials found that caffeinated carbonated beverages acutely raised urinary calcium by about 0.25 mol, compared with water, while phosphoric acid without caffeine did not. Over the long term, high cola habits can mean less dietary calcium and lower bone mineral density. This is especially concerning in seniors already at risk of osteoporosis. A 12 Oz soda typically packs 39 to 40 grams of sugar, around 9 to 10 teaspoons, which already bumps into or exceeds the American Heart Association's daily added sugar limit, 25 g day for women, 36 g day for men. Harvard data show people who drink 1 to 2 sugary beverages a day have a 26% higher risk of type 2 diabetes than rare drinkers. The CDC warns that sugary drinks, including energy drinks, are major sources of added sugar tied to weight gain, diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease, fatty liver tooth decay, and gout. Energy drinks add another layer of risk. Many 16OZ cans contain 5462g sugar and 160-300 mg caffeine. Randomized trials show they prolong the QTc interval, a heart rhythm risk marker, and raise blood pressure more than caffeine alone, with effects lasting up to 4 hours after a single high-volume drink. The FDA advises most adults to keep caffeine under 400 mg a day, but many seniors do better at 200-300 mg a day. A breakfast of eggs plus soda or energy drink might look harmless, but it can nudge you toward weaker bones, higher blood pressure, insulin resistance, and arrhythmia risk, especially if you already have osteopenia, hypertension, or heart rhythm issues. Practical fixes: swap soda or energy drinks for water or plain sparkling water with a squeeze of citrus. If you crave flavor, use a splash of 100% fruit juice in seltzer. Keep caffeine well under 400 mg per day and under 300 mg if you have sleep heart or blood pressure concerns. Avoid energy drinks if you've had palpitations, AFib, or a prolonged QT interval. Save colas for later in the day, and not with calcium-rich meals. Include regular bone-building foods, calcium, plus vitamin D elsewhere in your diet. Mid-morning energy crashes, pounding heartbeat, lightheadedness, rising home blood pressure, night leg cramps, or new back-hip aches, all worth discussing with your clinician, along with a bone density scan BMD and blood sugar check. After looking at all 7 food and drink combos we've covered, from dairy with eggs, caffeine-rich drinks, whole grains and oats, raw high-fiber greens, processed meats, sugar-heavy pastries all the way to sodas, and energy drinks, one thing is crystal clear: small choices at breakfast can have a big impact on your bones, heart, brain, and overall aging. You don't have to overhaul your diet overnight, but you can start making simple swaps today. Space out certain foods, add nutrient boosters, and cut back on the real troublemakers. Your future self, stronger, sharper, and more energetic, will thank you for it. So here's my challenge pick: just one change to start tomorrow morning. Stick with it for 2 weeks and see how you feel. And hey, if you found this helpful, take a second to like, share, and subscribe to Senior Life, because we're here to help you live longer, healthier, and better, one smart choice at a time.